Imbecile will come out here for 4 Zoomers now, so their draft looks more and more powerful as time goes on. Now, mind you, that is into the Leshrac, so you do have quite a bit of magical damage already with that Lesh, but I think 4 Zoomers just already are feeling very confident with their own ability to just beat Arkosh Gaming out, and perhaps they're not so worried about the draft.
Yeah, I think they know going into this how to deal with Arkosh. The last time we saw Arkosh go against one of his top teams, which was Penta Ace, it did go really fast for Penta Ace. So I think 4 Zoomers wants to pull off that kind of performance again. They've got a read on the demons, and they know what they want to do against them. So good to see that confidence in. I mean, you have great value here, mainly because there's no easy stuns here to stop the Timbersaw from zipping around, despite having all the magic damage in the world. So you might want to see a Yulet's up on Leshrac. Arkosh do go into the Keeper of the Light that
Not
we have
again.
seen them enjoy, which
They're gonna do it. They're gonna do
leaves
it.
the PL. It does leave the PL. So they can just go for it and try again with Chakra Magic, PL, Phantom Lance, spam with the Octarine. Let's see. Let's see. Wind Ranger out for Zoomers. So looking like a Witch Doctor Wind Ranger support duo, perhaps. You could still flex this mid against a Leshrac. It's not too shabby, but the Leshrac still has a good time farming out there. Still looking solid. Good control here. Not the best team fight. It doesn't look like they don't have the best control for wide areas besides Cask. Unless you get some really good shackles off with a Wind Ranger. So we'll have to see if Zoomers can maximize it, but it's looking really nice for a run and gun draft already from Zoomers and Arkosh. Okay, they don't do it. They don't do it.
Good news.
Thank you.
I mean, the Weaver is very nice here, I think. I mean, there is still this Alchemist, right? This Alchemist is going to be a massive issue, but now you have a Weaver that isn't going to be easy to catch, and you kind of already talked about the lack of lockdown on 4 Zoomers, but you know that is still an existent problem right now for 4 Zoomers. You've got the Witch Doctor Cask, not that great. If you land a Shackle on the Weaver, it's going to feel pretty nice, but that's assuming you can get a Shackle to latch onto something with that Weaver. And I suppose with the Alchemist, you do eventually just go into an Abyssal Blade, and at that point, maybe you've got to be a bit more worried about if you're this Weaver. But if you can just slow down this Alchemist long enough, Arkosh should have a decent chance with this draft to make things happen. Especially if they can get some early towers going for themselves and just kind of take over the map early. In fact, they finish off with a Storm Spirit now, so it looks like it's going to be an off-lane Leshrac we're looking at, rather than a mid Leshrac. So mid-Storm instead. And for Zoomers, their mid is still kind of open if you want to switch the Alk to the safe lane, which is something we see much more often these days. Just take something else for that mid matchup.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the option here for, say, Ember Spirit. Like, that's something we've seen Gunnar really perform across different regions, of course. You and I, we watched Gunnar all the way back in qualifiers of
Give us the
2017. Ember. Yeah, it's his special.
I
He
remember.
delivers.
I remember during those days when we were casting Jinispris, and every game they chose Ember, I kept talking about how bad Ember was, because it was really bad back then. And he was just dominating everyone, making me look like a complete idiot over and over again. And eventually, I remember I stopped saying Ember's a bad pick because it was Gunnar. You know, that did scar me for a bit. Still, though, we'll go for the Tiny instead. Fair enough. So more control, a lot of burst here for the Weaver, a lot of burst for the Leshrac and the Storm. And I'd argue that 4 Zoomers should be having a very good Tiny game.
Yeah, it's looking really good to hit those timings. We'll see if Gunnar can meet the blink timings we're used to seeing from some of the other mid-tiny players. We've seen 6.5 minute blink at the fastest. And probably not going to be the case against a Storm Spirit. The Storm is going to have a range advantage. He's got wave clear as well. But the Tiny should be able to hold its own. Really interesting drafts from both sides. You mentioned Arkosh having this push potential with Lesh. We have seen Gremlo on those kinds of heroes, right? Like, we've seen me play Death Prophet. Now I'm playing the Leshrac. So it's more push, not constrained to a cooldown, especially since Edict's so easy to pull off. So Arkosh should have the opportunity to find those early objectives. Zoomers don't have as amazing push, right? Like, Timbersaw can tank the tower and get some hits off, but it's not as fast. So the Zoomers are going to have to watch out for the push timings Arkosh wants to bring out. They're also going to have to watch that Orchid timing on the Storm. Canis Vulpus is more than likely going to look for that to start jumping around, get control off. And even with his Tiny, there's a lot of opportunities for the Storm to zip around, right? Like, you only worry about, what, Cask and Shackle. Shackle's your hardest lockdown amongst that, and even that is kind of dodgeable for a Storm. So if Arkosh plays their cards right, it's going to be hard for Zoomers to lock them in. Zoomers will have to play on point and getting that initiation, getting the reach out to find these heroes and get those kills.
See how it all pans out. Game number 1 between Arkosh and 4 Zoomers just about set to start. John, as their offlaner, do you feel confident here with your team on Arkosh Gaming to be able to pull off this Game 1 victory? Or do you think 4 Zoomers got the better draft?
I'm just happy Pale Horse isn't playing PL again. I don't have to support that Octarine rush, that dumb stuff I keep seeing every other game. Pale Horse, stop it, I want to eat. I mean, people are tossing me Party Pete. They're tossing me the Observer Pop card. I just want cat litter. I don't know what you all are on about. Gremlo wants cat litter.
That's enough, John. Thank you for that. Yanagi.
Well, I don't know.
What is? I've heard that word before. Wearing socks. Wait. You're a little werewolf. Why do you need socks?
Have you not seen good pups with nice little cute doggy socks? Pretty cute. Although I don't... Canis Vulpus doesn't strike me as the cute type. We've seen illustrations. We've seen his picture with Fear. In fact, is he still using that picture?
Spicy.
He is. He is using that very beautiful picture of him in Fear. So I don't reckon the socks do much for his image, but maybe gets him comfy.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Right.
the picture you don't want to show.
Right.
I will look at every now and again for a good giggle. It's a very nice picture.
It is. Stickers already coming out. I hear them, but I don't see them. Where are... Is it because we're paused that we can't see the... What are these guys saying?
Sammy. Dropping the F-bomb. Right there. And of course the blame goes on to X Mike. Of course the coach gets the blame for all the things
Wait a
that
minute.
goes wrong, Mike.
Did you just say X Mike?
X Mike? X Mike?
It's John, how
Which-
dare you? How dare you disrespect IX Mike like that?
Really?
John, come on, he's been in the
Good.
pro scene since Dota 2 came out. You've got to... You can't tell me you thought it was X Mike the whole time.
In my internal head, I actually keep saying X Mike sometimes.
Oh
I
my
switch between
goodness.
IX and X. I know, it sounds more fun if it's X. X Mike. X Mike, X Mike, X Mike. You see? See how my dumb brain processes it? My two brain cells just rub that, and it's like, X Mike, X Mike, X Mike. I know. I know. I know. I'm playing off lane. I can't focus. I'm spinning around. Look at that. Me and Crow, we're buddies. We're just discoing. Of course, I don't have cosmetics because I don't have money because I eat cat litter.
Thank you for that, John.
Outstanding. Look at this coordination.
How long will they continue to spin for? Are they going to spin the whole time? No, Gremlo's had enough. So has Crow. Sammy, just getting the lane ready with some Quelling Blade. Quelling Blade action on the trees. Look, it should be a 2-for-2 start. Pale Horse, he might try to swipe one away from Husky down at the bot side. No, he's going to leave it be. Pale Horse will just back out. And 4 Zoomers will go back into their dual lane. So Brax is going to be there on the Timber with Ocean on the Wind Ranger. Of course, they're going to be up against Pale Horse on the Weaver. And for now, Pale Horse is completely alone, but he should eventually have a Clockwork or a Keeper of the Light with him. Shouldn't be too bad of a lane here for the Weaver either. Of course, I don't think they're going to really be able to slow down Brax very much on the Timber. But you should be able to secure your own farm on the Weaver quite easily.
Yeah, and they can always shove the wave out as well. Go just lining up for the Illuminate, and that early damage is something to watch out for. Timbersaw not enjoying the magic, although
Oh,
look
nice
at that.
shackle. These long shackles make me sick when I see them, John. I mean, nobody should be able to get that long of a shackle off.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of control early on, and Pale Horse already down to half HP, is ready for this, has 2 sets of tangos, Going to be digging into that relatively soon. Love these early wards as well here from 4Zoomers. They've got the early sentry to just prevent the Shukuchi from being as value. And you catch a Weaver out with the Shukuchi into a Shackle. That throws off the Weaver's game. So Pale Horse has to be a bit cautious there. They do have a D ward, but they're not quite planting it yet on Goat.
You see how aggressive Brax is getting as he does just juke out that Illuminate, but every single time Pale Horse commits the Shukuchi, he just goes in with the chains. Tries to get as much damage off as humanly possible, but now Goat has de-warded the lane, so they won't have to worry about that too much. So over in the mid lane, you've got Canis Vulpus up against Gunnar on the Tiny. For now, it is favoring Canis on the Storm, but I suppose we should expect that. The Storm right now doesn't really lose too many mid lane matchups. I imagine Gunnar should be able to catch up quite easily though on the Tiny. I'm sure he's had plenty of experience in these kind of scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, it's a steady farming lane for the Tiny as well. He's just going to be looking for Avalanche Toss opportunities, although that doesn't come out until later on. Canis Vulpus does not have the option to dodge until he's 6. So he's going to watch that back and forth. Going to be important for both sides to start looking for those power runes as they come up as well. And we'll see if the sports can get that done. You already have that early bottle up on Gunnar. So he's going to be able to sustain and keep spamming out, whereas Canis Vulpus is flying his out as well. So 4-minute bound, power rune's going to be important. Looking up top, though, Sammy's dropping low.
Oh, Sammy, got to be careful. He is going to try and run. Crow could not get the Cogs push back either. And Gremlo will just go back and salve himself up. So everyone's still going to remain just perfectly fine. Everyone, there are a lot of low heroes coming out here for 4Zoomers. All of them basically just barely getting away. As Pale Horse now going to try and go onto Brax, but we'll get his courier instead. So, all things being said and done, not too bad in the end. Top lane, looks like they have got Sammy and the Witch Doctor being played by Husky. And they should be able to get this kill surely. Husky, still on the run, is going to be able to get away. And Sammy, also just fine.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity for sure. You're going to be happy if you're on the Zoomer's side. Husky just getting a lot of value from the cast. And this is where it gets a bit tricky for Arkosh. You want to set up with the Cogs, but if you trap yourselves up there with no creep wave, Husky can punish that close-in. So you have to watch that spacing really well. So far, Sammy's not too far behind in last hits. He's up there in the top 3 for his team and way ahead of Pale Horse right now. 3 last hits ahead, which is a lot for the Alchemist because you're playing with that Reveal Screed. So you want to keep this Alch in check as much as possible. They are trying to keep that constant
nice
pressure
shackle.
up.
Ocean. What a shackle there onto Pale Horse. And they should be able to secure this, as they do. First Blood goes the way of Ocean, and now even Goat, who tried to get a trade, might go down. Power shots available. Ocean, it's going to be off the mark. Meanwhile, across the rest of the map, everyone dropping low, but it's mid lane where Gunnar barely gets the kill over Canis Vulpus. And now the Timber does deny himself off to the neutral camps. Ocean hasn't done the same. He's going to have to try and run, but the Illuminate not going to be enough. And Gunnar gives him the roughie.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. You come in with nukes and Canis Vulpus.
Oh, he's terrible, this guy, Canis. Just no remorse. Does not care about anyone's feelings.
Oh boy, yeah, it's one of those games. Dougie as well said it in the lobby. It's going to be one of those games, and it is. You can see Zoomers trying to get in the heads of the demons here in Arkosh, and so far, I mean, they're up ahead 2-1, less than 1k lead, but that is set to escalate when you've got the Alch. You have to watch that early on. Zoomers now can look to play aggressive. They've got good timings in Gunnar. They've got steady farm on Sammy. Gremlo's not quite in position to really get any sort of steady shove in, and they're not really able to maximize Crow's presence right now. He's level 3. They haven't tried making a play up top. It's been slower. The bot lane's been really slow as well. They do drag Canis Vulpus up, though, and they might look for a zip opportunity with his level 6.
Gonna give it a crack. Husky would be a nice easy kill, but they're definitely up here to try and get Sammy, who's currently struggling in terms of CS, really being slowed down quite a bit by Gremlo. Crow, sticking around, is going to be able to get vision now. We'll just start running towards Sammy again. They'll get the cask off. Crow gets unlucky with the bounce as well, and will die to the Melodic. But now Canis going in with the Storm, straight onto Sammy, is going to make sure the Alch does die in return. And Sammy will actually give the tip over to Canis Vulpes. As Gunner is trying to run, gets the toss back onto Gremlo, and they might try and turn now with an Avalanche and a Cask. Connecting on two, but where's your follow-up damage? They don't have it. Canis going to keep going now with the Storm again, but Gunner is a little bit too tanky and will continue the chase as Power Shot doesn't really land. Gunner, Avalanche in a second, would love to get it off, and he does connect, but the Melodict is already done. Gremlo might just die. A toss back into Canis, but a nice dodge to protect the salve there on the Storm, and now they'll turn right back around onto Husky. That'll be your Witch Doctor dead, and Arkosh, I can confidently say, outplayed 4 Zoomers in that team fight.
Yeah, they held on long enough. They even got the bottle refill onto Crow, and looked bad because they were blocking out Canis Vulpes, but they don't manage to capitalize on it. So good rotations out, good kills out. We are seeing the same movement once more from Pale Horse. We've seen this from Weavers. Once you have that early Javelin or building into it and it does get out, you look for the opportunity mid. They did get a bit of a shove, not enough to call it the full push. But Pale Horse just meeting those timings we're used to seeing on the Weaver. Early Javelin up means he has a lot more damage to toss out as well. So that's something to watch out for on the side of Zoomers. So far, really close game. 3-3. Less than 1k lead for Zoomers, but it could go either way considering that that is an out.
Oh, another Shackles out from Ocean. Not going to be enough though. Pale Horse is going to be just fine. Illuminate, just going to secure the large camp. Chains forward again. Brax would love to go onto either of these heroes, and they would try and maybe land a Shackles here into Goat, and that'll be a guaranteed latch. Brax will go in for an easy cleanup, and Cunner even showed his face there for a second, but is unable to take the kill for himself. Meanwhile, top lane, Gremlo getting started on the tier 1 tower is going to try and dive Husky, but the Melodic damage might really hurt in the end, and the tips come out Husky.
Oh,
he knows he's fine. He just kept juking around the tier 1 tower and eventually gets out of there. Now, Crow might be caught out as Gunner. Well, he's the one of the cogs. In fact, Pale Horse is going to show up and they will go after Tiny. Avalanche toss is there, but Gunner does die. And now Sammy needs to be careful, but a Shackle again going to land there from Ocean. It's just not going to prove to be enough as they don't have the follow-up damage. And it looks like Crow this time will take the kill and gives another all chat there from Canis.
Jeez Louise, these demons, man. Talking about the back and forth never ends. Love to see it from both sides. Really even game, 5-5, less than 1k lead still up for Zoomers and Canis Vulpes.
Oh, you can't die like this, Gunner. Gotta be careful, do not die like this. Canis doesn't have enough HP anyway. You know what I love about these games, John? Is every time you die, it's almost guaranteed trash talk to come out. And it makes you that much more scared to die the next time, as now Gremlo is going to try again onto Husky. He's been Meledicted up again, but at least this time he does secure the tier 1 tower. Only problem is now the Gunner's coming in from the side, and they even have Hoshin on the Wind Ranger. As Gremlo is actually going to get away. Shackles not going to fly out either, and they don't even get the courier. Gremlo just gets out scot-free.
Yeah, really good play coming out for me, just dancing around here. Forcing a 3-man rotation is always nice while you find that top tier 1. No tower trade coming out yet from the side of 4 Zoomers. You can see Brax down bot, trying to chip away at that tier 1, copying the damage. He does have max level reactive. He just doesn't do enough damage. And you can see mid again, Pale Horse with a Javelin.
Sammy's surrounded. He gets the Chemical Rage off in time, and that should mean he does survive, but they're going to keep going. Canis not done yet. Pale Horse also going to chase him down. Sammy, he's dropping very low. The Chemical Rage does nothing. And Gummer, well, he will survive for now, but eventually Pale Horse does get the kill. Husky tries with the Death Ward to secure the Weaver. With the Melodic, he should have enough damage, or maybe not, as it looks like the tick was already there. Now back onto Canis. They go and get Husky. That'll be the Witch Doctor dying, and before Zoomers, John, not looking so hot right now.
No, it falls apart in that committal mid. Sammy Boy just showing himself in lane before his Battle Fury, before the rest of the farm comes in, is a huge risk. And they're still
what a
up.
shackle.
Ooh, Shackles.
Ocean. there's one thing going right, it's his shackles, but Kane is now going to go for the Vortex back onto Gunner. He's been stunned up for a while. He's going to try and run, but he is almost guaranteed to die. It's now Husky. TP's back in. Ocean with the focus fire onto Gremlo, trying to at least get one. They will get the Leshrac, but Canis isn't done yet. He wants to try and go after this Wind Ranger along with Crow, but Sammy is back into the team fight. Another shackles onto Crow, but now the Vortex back onto Sammy. Crow is still alive. Illuminate comes out from Goat, and that's enough, it seems, as everyone is borderline just out of mana and HP. My goodness, what a team fight in the mid lane, but it still favors Arkosh.
Yeah, they're finding everything. They found the objective as well, so they are up one mid-tier 1 tower. The bot tier 1 did fall in the end, but they do have control. They can start looking at jungle, start trying to shut down this farm that the Alchemist wants to build up, and Sammy is still waiting for that Battle Fury to finish up. So
Dust does connect. Shackle?
Shackle?
Are you kidding me, Ocean? He just keeps landing them. Avalanche toss is there onto Pale Horse, but it's not enough. Oh, that is depressing. Yeah, I mean, the other casters kind of pointed out, but these raindrops from Arkosh is doing a hell of a lot. Just constantly saving them over and over again. Even Gremlo now just chasing down Brax down at the bot lane. And well, there's a bit of a group up here. Canis does have an arcane rune in his bottle. Can fight for a while with this, but he's just going to pop it, go straight in after the Timber. And this will be a nice, easy kill to get. In fact, Ocean wanting to give them a 2-for-1 special. And Canis is going to go for that special, going for the Vortex again. Ocean does not have Wind Run and cannot survive the damage output. A 12-7 now for Arkosh Gaming.
Oh, they're looking good. 12-7, 1k lead up. This is against an Alchemist that has been spending a lot of time in the jungle. So you are doing a lot better here for Arkosh. And Zoomers, they're just losing objectives. The push coming out from Arkosh lining up. And there's not much they can do about it. Look at Gunner. Still stuck at 9, but Pale Horse is up at 10. When your mid-tiny's not getting its momentum, it can hurt. He's trying to save up for the blink. That could be what they play around next, but this is just not smooth going at all.
Oh, poor Husky. He'll be there to tank the gank here from Arkosh. He's definitely going down.
My eternal
Thank you.
Canis Wolfus. What a guy. This beast is just all over the place with his yells. They are trying to clump up bot. Gremlo's out of mana. I'm out of mana.
You are out of mana, John. What are you going to do about this one? Nothing. The shackles again latching on. Gremlo's still alive, though. Blinding Light comes in. He jukes out the Chakram. He's alive, but not for long. The Focus Fire is going to be enough to take him out. And John, don't get so impressed with yourself. Not that hard to juke around with the Leshrac.
I suppose so. He is speedy still. Bought a lot of time. They are collapsing for the power in, but does goes to Gunner. So no place Herald though. Shackle.
Has Ocean missed the Shackle yet?
Maybe once. I think there was one that didn't fit. Every single one that counts is really landing on. They find the pickups they want. 13-9, less than 1k lead for Arkosh. This is mainly because of how much farm Sammy has. Battle Fury AFK farming time for Sammy on that Alchemist, so he's just spending a lot of time trying to build up, and Arkosh are still somewhat keeping up. They have put the farm of Gunner and Brax in the backseat to get this Alch up and running. They do have to watch out about that build up on the rest of the heroes as they are sacrificing their side heroes here. Arkosh are aware that they are letting Sammy farm up. They have kind of pinged out that Sammy's been away for a long time, so they want to get that hunt going, but they can't really find the angle into that triangle.
Oh, Brax going to be a bit surrounded. Focus Fire already starting onto Gremlo. What's the game plan here? Gremlo has kind of been left alone. Crow does not want to come in with the hook shot. And yeah, he's going to let him die. And now, he hook shots now. Ocean is going to go down. Can they keep going? Husky will be the next target. It does die to Canis Volpers. Brax, well, I guess it's going to work out in the end. I don't know if Gremlo had to die for that, but they get a 3 kills for 1, so in the end, it works out.
Yeah, it's a really good trade for Arkosh coming out there. I don't think Gremlo minds too much. I don't mind too much throwing my body out like that. My team tells me to go in, I die, they find a kill, and that keeps Canis Volpus happy. If it lets him shut up, I'm fine. They do get the opportunity to TP around as well. There's a blink up on Gunner now, though. So there's a bit of a spike here for the Tiny, but they need to play as a team to maximize that.
Oh, this is great positioning here from Crow. Husky going to find out the hard ways. He does get conked up, and the team is right around Crow to make sure Husky dies. Ocean was trying to help out with the shackle, but now he's been caught out. Canis, meanwhile, killing off Gunner on the Tiny. Ocean had died as well to Gremlo. And Canis... Like I said, John, he's a man with no remorse. He does not care.
Oh, he really doesn't. And they're just putting it on to four Zoomers now. 19 to 10, 2K lead against an Alchemist. This is not good news. You're not getting enough farm on the Alch to justify this sort of discrepancy in net worth. Canis Vulpes is now up a lot. He's got the Orchid up. They can look to zip again.
Zip in. Oh, they've got Brax there on the Timber. Nice easy kill. Canis Vulpes getting another power rune, this time for double damage, and with that, there's just no chance of survival up against the Storm. Of course, he is going to go into the Bloodstone up next on the Storm Spirit, which is, you know, considering how many kills he's getting this game, you can't quite blame him for that. It's just going to amplify everything for this Storm. On the brighter side, John, Sammy does now have the S&Y up, but this is... It's nowhere near where you need an Alchemist to be if you're going to make this kind of draft work.
Yeah, it's not quite enough. He's saving up for the BKB next, which will allow him to join these fights and also counteract the Spirit Vessel being built up by Crow. So you shouldn't be too worried about your regen in these fights as long as you have the BKB up and running. But Arkosh are steadily building up. 2K lead still up there, 20 to 10, a 2-to-1 lead, and Pale Horse is just running around by himself.
Monks there, Pale Horse doesn't want to die, but a great hook shot in from Crew, landing onto two. They have got the Illuminator flying through, and Shackles,
oh, the Shackles
again! Ocean! It's just not doing enough, though. Gremlo now just going to chase Ocean down and drown out the Wind Ranger. Let's go down. Brax does at least kill off Crow. Pale Horse, meanwhile, going on the Timber. Might die for this. He doesn't have time lapse. And they have indeed gone a little bit too far here, Arkosh. Started off great, but eventually they lose the Weaver, and that is not going to feel too great.
No, it's great punishment coming out from the Zoomers to get that catch out. Evens out the exchange and gives them a lot more gold, mainly because Sammy surrendered. Although they might look to reset, they're calling back in.
Looks like they are. Canis, he's just fearless right now, zipping right back in onto Husky. That'll be a Witch Doctor kill again. He's just a refill of mana. You want to try again, Canis? Anybody else? It looks like he's found a target, and it's going to be good old Sammy boy. Okay, Sammy? Not going to be jumped on yet. Instead, they go towards the left side, onto Brax. That may have been the wrong target. Instead, they'll try onto Ocean. Avalanche Toss not going to be enough to kill off Canis. There's one down, but now Sammy comes in to join his team. Canis going to exit the building as Gremlo does take over. Just chases him down with the Pulse Nova, lands a Split Earth, but they want Gunner on the Tiny. Avalanche Toss there, Canis about to drop, but not quite. He gets himself out of the Storm, and Gunner is gonna die. 40 HP, the Storm survives on. Gremlo does go down a Husky in the end. But Arkosh continue to dominate this game.
Yeah, they're just all over the map. They're constantly forcing aggression. This is taking away time that Sammy Boy just wants to sit back and farm. He's still finding that farm. But look at how far behind Gunner and Brax are starting to fall. Like, they're 1k behind Gremlo. They're about 3k behind Pale Horse, and that's not a good sign. They do smoke up as tree on the side of 4 Zoomers and try to find a pick off while they can. Maybe find a nice squishy target in Crow.
Crow? Just gonna cogs, run away.
Oh.
Hook shot? No, he just hook shots right back in. He wanted that bounty, and he does get the bounty. And now the zip in from Canis straight onto that Timber. What? A nice Shackles will delay things, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough as the Cogs is going to push away Brax, making sure he can't chain. Husky is going to be the second to fall, and now Canis wants to go right after the big man Sammy. Another great Shackles is there from Ocean. They might be able to turn it now, and they do. The Shackles just continue to land over and over again as Gremlo has been caught out by an unstable concoction. It's not going to be enough yet. They'll turn right back around with Pale Horse, trying to go onto Ocean, but an Avalanche Toss is there. Still not going to be enough. Back on a Sammy with that Spirit Vessel. It is ticking him down quite a bit. But he's going to threaten with the stun. He'll end up stunning himself. Crow has hookshot in 5 seconds. And it looks like he wants to try for something, but it's not going to be up in time.
Yeah, it's another close fight. This time around, much better for Zoomers. They find Canis Vulpus, the kill they really wanted to take there. So they're starting to slow down some of that pace from Arkosh. And they did find a nice courier as well. Pale Horse's courier had his full Yasha. So that's the SNY stalled out for 2 minutes 10, which is a pretty long time. That's a big spike for the Weaver to take away. So not as much presence from Weaver coming forward because of that pickoff. Arkosh are going to have to sit back and reset a bit. Wait for some of these items to flow out. They have forced one charge out from Sammy's BKB. So it's down to 9 seconds. And as long as they keep ticking that down, once it's at 5, it's not going to be enough for Sam to stand and fight comfy. Like, they have such a good timing on the Spirit Vessel on Crow. You can just come in, take control. Sam has to be very considerate as to when he does start popping these BKB charges.
Oh, Gunnar shows up in that mid lane for a second. Does actually have the Shadow Amulet, but now a hookshot in from Crow. And Gunnar is going to die. A nice Death Ward is there from Husky, but well, the Melodic was only onto Crow, so the Clockwork's going to be fine, and so is everyone else. And all your eggs are basically just in the Sammy basket now. Just how fast can we escalate this Alk? And in all fairness, Sammy has been catching up quite nicely. I just don't know if it's going to prove to be enough.
And he's going to have a major spike once he has that Abyssal. And then we're going to be looking at Swift Blink, more than likely, right? And that's the build-up for the Alk. That's when he gets insane. He's still at 9 seconds on the BKB charge as well. So he hasn't been forced into these fights that Arkosh would like to see. So overall, I think you're pretty fine, pretty on track for the Alchemist to be big. It's just everything else that you worry about. Like, Gunnar is so far behind. He's had Blink and just a casual Oblivion staff. Nothing else to build off on that. They lose their top tier 2 now as well, so that gives Arkosh a chance to just completely control that top jungle, which they have. They've got some good wards down, and you've got BKB up in Gremlo. So immediate burst on the Lesh is not going to be on hand. He's going to be alive a lot longer to get his damage off, and that could be an issue here for Zoomers if they're not ready for that.
Rax being watched by Crow. Chakram is going to get rid of that tree line. Top lane is also being split pushed right now by Pale Horse, so somebody needs to get there and defend. They really just desperately want this mid-tier 1 tower first, but it's not going to be easy while the Keeper of the Light is around. They'll pop the Chemical Rage. Illuminate's still flying through, but the creep wave is going to make it this time, and looks like they will finally get that mid-tier 1. The tier 3 tower, it's taking a bit of damage, but not too much.
Yeah, it's not quite enough to really be happy with that just yet. You do finally have the items flying in, and a good scan out does mean that Arkosh will not get picked off. They still have wards forward, and they could try to play, but that's a lot of heroes now.
It is a hell of a lot. Kane is just hiding in the tree line. Is going to zip right back through onto Ocean. They want the Wind Ranger dead. Shadow Amulet is not going to save him, Canis. Nice positioning, ensuring he could get a pick off. Of course, Ocean has been very annoying on this Wind Ranger this game, so just getting rid of him and going for a Roshan is going to feel very nice for Arkosh.
Yeah, and this is going to be a really nice Rosh for them to take. Zoomers do not have wards around this area. They have no Rosh wards at all, no ramp wards, so they might not have an idea what's going on. They can try to play with a snipe. There is a blink on Gunnar, but he's not walking the right way.
No, he's not.
Immortality is mine.
Pale Horse is alone down at that bot lane.
I'll take that.
Poor Zoomers, they might be able to capitalize off this.
They're under a ward. They smoked under the ward.
Uh-oh. They did. Pale Horse breaks it immediately. He has time-lapse up if he needs to, but he's been stunned up. He needs help, but no, he gets it off in time. Kane is zipping right through, trying to go after that Witch Doctor, but burns his Aegis. They're going to be able to secure Husky as a kill, and Canis is back up with that Aegis now. The question is, who does he want? He tries onto Brax. Instead, we'll go back onto Ocean, and the wind run is over, so Ocean is guaranteed to die and does. Meanwhile, Pale Horse trying to find out more. Does get Avalanche tossed, and Gunner does get himself a kill, but Pale Horse now is going to continue this chase. They do spot Sammy. Sammy, he does not have the ulti up. Luckily for him, he is pretty tanky with that AC.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And it looks like that's going to be enough. So Arkosh, they burn their Aegis, but they get 2 supports. Not too bad overall. That's actually a pretty nice pick up there on the Weaver, John. Pale Horse has got the Iron Skadi up now.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of work this game, and this is what happens when your safe laner builds something that isn't completely bad. So I'm glad, again, as Gremlo, I'm glad to see Pale Horse is finally listening to some sense and actually doing something in this game. It makes a big difference. The biggest issue now is piercing through that armor on Sammy, but they might just be depending on Canis Vulpes and Gremlo with all the magic damage they have once the BKB fades to get that done. I think if they had Hookshot there once the BKB faded, he could have gone for Simple though.
Gunner. They know where Canis is, but he's got a haste rune for a couple more seconds, so it's not going to be the easiest kill, but the tree throw will give vision of where he went. Now Ocean looking for a shackle, does land it. This will be a very nice kill, and it looks like they have secured it. Canis getting a little bit greedy there, and in fact Sammy even catching out Goat. Goat was trying to get in there to maybe give some chakra magic over and help the Storm be able to zip away, but they're both down. And this is going to mean 4 Zoomers get a lot of objectives out of this.
Yeah, the towers do melt to the Alk. Just machine guns through objectives are going to take that top tier one. You are going to look to make a play on mid. You don't have Gremlo around though to immediately melt it, but they should be able to get some good damage and force the response out. So Sammy can't fully commit for his own tier 2 push. You can see Sammy starting to go for the Aghanims save up, right? So he's going to start gifting those Ags away. It could be big, especially on, say, the Tiny, once you have some items up to get that damage off. But it's still going to be a while longer once that's up. Arkosh, for their part, just have to be a bit cautious here.
Oh, he had to go for the hook shot away. He did not, however. But he will just accept the fact that he is dead. And Sammy now looking very powerful, and that Alchemist might be able to turn this game around with his team. Arkosh doing standard Arkosh things and just split pushing all the lanes. Making sure that 4 Zoomers always have to react to these pushes. Gremlo trying to get the outpost in time. Does manage to snag it. But now he's got to deal with Sammy and Husky coming in. That being said, Arkosh is around. Sammy needs to be slightly careful, but they spotted out the Weaver, and now Pale Horse is going to time lapse away. Feels like one bad team fight could swing this game either way. Even now, Brax going to be able to chain out in time. Looks like he'll be fine.
Yeah, it's just so even. Like, 1k lead for Arkosh is nice, which means the Alk isn't actually building up a massive enough lead to compensate for your cores that are falling behind. At the same time, it's not enough for Arkosh to be fully confident, although they have a BKB.
Well, Canis zips right in perfectly onto the Timber. Brax, he's been silenced up, but he does get the chains away. Does have Lotus as well, and looks like he might just be fine. Very nice there from Brax.
Yeah, it's a lot of committal to jump in like that. Not the biggest loss. They didn't reveal the BKB here on Canis Vulpes. He did not pop it on, so he still has his full tech in second charge. There's an opportunity to defend that top tier 2. Well, there's a lot of heroes here on Zoomer's end, so you gotta be careful about jumping in here.
Scanning for enemies.
Bounty Rune, Sammy. Happily take his. Pale Horse trying to creep skip the mid lane. Brax can't really do too much about this. Meanwhile, top lane, Aeon Disc going to be popped there onto Gremlo. Does also get his BKB off in time. It might just turn right back around onto Sammy. They don't have Pale Horse around yet. But they are trying to recall someone back in, and it is going to be the Weaver. And they're pointing towards that mid lane. I still think Brax is going to be a difficult kill to get, even with this Eye of Skadi up. Zip in, Canis, no Vortex yet, just going after the creep waves. They do force a rotation from Ocean, and now they have been caught out. Goat, free throw, going to be enough from Gunner to kill him off. Now they want more. A great Shackles out again from Ocean. Oh, Arkosh. It was really feeling like their game to throw. They may have just done so, John. Canis?
Yeah, I mean,
He's going to be all right.
there's some really tight timings you have to meet when you are playing with, you know, something like Leshrac core. You need to take these objectives fast. You need to pressure the high ground fast. You can see Brack just giving him all the
Canis?
spikes.
Zip in. Onto Sammy, but he's going to be just fine. They don't have really the damage output.
No. Like, they need everyone there to get that damage off. He's just way too tanky, and now Sammy rips through that tier 2 mid, opening up even more avenues to push here for the side of 4 Zoomers, and they've taken control on the right part of the map. They're just holding that triangle. There's no opportunity for Arkosh to play in the area. Arkosh has slowed down the gank train, and there's now a 3k lead for 4 Zoomers, and the investment in the Elk is starting to look a lot better now for Zoomers, and Sammy starting to really build up for his team. He is rushing that Swift Blink next instead of the Ag, so it's going to be even more for Nuisance, although there is a Butterfly here on Pale Horse.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel like Pale Horse needed some kind of pure damage item. And now they have caught out Brax. They're trying to go onto that Timber, and that is a lot more damage coming out. Brax is gone. However, Crow on the left side in trouble, but here comes Kane and zipping right in to make sure that they get Husky. On Sammy, he is all alone. Arkosh looking very good this team fight. Going to try and fight Sammy's BKBs and TPs out. It's going to be just fine to get out. Gunner going to try and blink TP, but Canis does not have the mana, but it won't matter. Gremlo was there with the stun in time. Close call there, but Arkosh quite dominant. I think that Butterfly and of course the BKB really helping out in the Storm and the Weaver respectively. It should only get just a little bit better as Pale Horse going to have the full Mjolnir up soon. In fact, he gets the Aghanim Scepter Courier. So Sammy losing his first Ags.
Yeah, that's pretty painful. That's a 4-minute respawn almost on that Courier, so you're not going to have that spike on your team for a while. He did Q out of the Swift Blink for that, so he's going to have to go back for that Blink now to get his damage output up. You are still having issues holding down this Alchemist, right? Like, they're killing off every other hero except Sammy. That is going to be the consistent issue for the side of Arkosh. They're going to need more damage flying through. It looks like Pale Horse is going to be lining up his Mjolnir for that. So once you have that up, you're going to be able to get a lot more magic damage out. You're going to be able to protect your teammates with the active, or at least get some damage off if they do get jumped. We need to see better angles from Crow. He has not been able to get up there and use his Spirit Vessel. It's still up at 6 charges, so he hasn't been able to get anything off onto Sammy when the BKBs fade. They will try for Roche. There's Aegis and Cheese, and once more, Zoomers do not have a ward here.
There's Roshan. Starting to get very worried about 4 Zoomers again. Sammy trying to work on that next Aghanim Scepter. I guess as they come out, maybe the surprise factor will affect Arkosh a little bit. Sammy going to show himself mid. Pale Horse is going to run right past Canis. Should be feeling quite confident here with the Aegis and Cheese, as well as a gem. There's plenty of ways to just catch somebody out without your own life being at risk. Sammy. I'm almost waiting for the moment where they just jump him underneath the tier 2 tower. It's like Arkosh are going to be a bit more conservative.
I think that's the right play. You don't want to overextend. You don't know where the rest of the team of 4 Zoomers are. They haven't found a pickoff to get the numbers advantage up just yet, so they don't have good angles to jump that tier 2. I do have to say, I think it's a bit surprising for me to not see Sammy opt for, say, a casual Ag Shard in this game. Like, having that Dispel on hand is very useful. Like, if you run out of BKB and then you get Spirit Vesseled up, you still have that Dispel with your Berserk Potion. So that's a possibility there for the Zoomers to explore with Sammy if he wants to. We'll see if that's something he considers. Looks like we do have the go-ahead to go back into the game. I love this build-up in Gunner. He's going for the right-click build, and when you get the free Ags from an Alk, that can be devastating on a Tiny. So we're going to see the tree volley Tiny coming into play, and that is always fun. You're going to have to watch for that major spike in damage output from the Zoomers once that's up. And this is now a game of attrition, right? It's a war of attrition now. The Alchemist is going to start gifting out those Ags once the courier respawns. And the scaling for Zoomers just flies sky high with that potential to just get free Ags upgrades, whereas for Arkosh, it's not. So as the game goes on, this net worth lead is going to diminish, and it will become a bit of an uphill climb into the high ground here for Arkosh.
T2 mid going down, Pale Horse making sure to secure that. Oh, an Arcane Rune sitting there for Canis. He'll happily take that away. And now with the Aegis Cheese and Arcane Rune, I mean, surely you've got to go if you're Arkosh. There are just too many things going their way for a big team fight. I'd say they probably want to force high ground if they could try to get there in time with this Arcane Rune on your Storm. He's just going to be able to do whatever he wants. Pale Horse, by himself, speaking of doing whatever you want, goes on to Sammy. And now Zip in with the Orchid. Sammy just dies. Shackles was there, but it wasn't really there in time. Ocean will be able to TP out of there. He doesn't have buyback gold.
Oh boy. That is scary. He's got 2 Ags.
You've got to give him over ASAP. They're in his backpack. He can't actually give them over while he's dead, so Gunner can't have the tree volley up. Speaking of Gunner, he's trying to run away right now, but he's got no way out. He's going to start farming. The XD comes out from Canis Vulpes. There's no buyback on Gunner.
Oh no. This is dicey. We've seen games turn like this, and if Arkosh realizes there are no buybacks, these towers melt. They've got Leshrac. They can go for tier 4s. And Zoomers, the rest of the heroes left don't have enough farm to counteract this.
Luckily, Gunner, by farming that large camp, John, actually barely got himself enough gold. He was only 20 gold short. So that farm camp that he just farmed was actually very well worthwhile for Gunner. Avalanche only going to slow things down. Shackles not going to land either. Pale Horse. But that's going to be enough. They get 1 lane of barracks. They could really just keep going for more if they really want to. Looks like Arkosh are going to start the bot tier 3 as well. And, they are going to back off. Back towards the top lane where they spotted out Husky on the Witch Doctor. And, well, Vortex not going to be there in time. He didn't have the mana. Unfortunate there for Canis.
Oh,
what?
it's a regen.
Regen.
Just all the luck in the world here for Canis Vulpes, and all this rune control is just hurting the Zoomers. We've seen this in the last series as well. When the mid gets complete control on these power runes, it really changes the pace of the game. 10k lead up for Arkosh. And the side of Zoomers. I mean, they get their respawns back up. You can look at Sammy. He's just saving up for a Divine now. He knows the stakes. He knows he needs that raw damage to come out.
Yeah, you really haven't got a choice. Shackles is nice onto Pale Horse. Can they burst him down in time? It looks like they can. That Canis almost drops as well on the Storm. Tips coming out now from Gunner onto Pale Horse. Gremlo stunned up by Sammy. He's just trying to run away. He does have the cheese and the lash. And it looks like he's going to be just fine for now. But the chase continues. Chains not going to land. And the TP out is going to be just fine there from Gremlo. So you've got the Ags upgrade there on Brax. And I believe Gunner has one as well. So he's got the tree volley now. And you've got some really nice high ground defense with that tree volley from Gunner. As well as the double chakram from Brax. And once that Daedalus is up, the damage kind of just skyrockets for this Tiny. So things could still be a little bit scary for Arkosh.
Yeah, they've got to watch out for that Tiny. Gunner can just dish a lot of damage out. Issue is, for the Tiny, you don't have many trees to play with in some spots of the map, so it might not be the most useful if you're caught in a barren area. Crow is lining up here.
Good shot. Goes for the conks. Kane is going to zip right through it. This Tiny. Oh, he's going to try and just BKB and survive that way. With a tree volley, a lot of damage flying out, but it's not going to be enough. Eventually, he should just die, but here comes the cavalry. Sammy, he comes in and he bashes with the Abyssal Blade as well. He got the Storm. Gunnar somehow survives with his life intact. 130 HP. Gremlo trying to be recalled back now on the Lesh. Oh, he didn't make it. He got burnt by the Cloak of Flames, so he couldn't get the recall, and now the tree volley is not going to be enough.
Oh, man. It's a back and forth now. Sometimes Zoomers looks like they're
the spell prism.
looking back. And suddenly Arkosh looks back. Now you have the spell prism out. Look at that cooldown the volley. 12.3 seconds. Always nice to see. Daedalus is almost up here as well for Gunnar. So you're hitting that huge spike. Take a look at Dota Plus spike. Look at how many times it has dipped from Arkosh. It's a mountain range right now in terms of probability. And Zoomers, they're kind of back in. They've reached a point where it's a war of attrition. They're building up here. Sammy Boy's Alchemist is just getting a lot done. And once he has the Divine, you're going to have to find an answer for the Alch, because you're not finding it yet. Like, the bashes going through BKBs are causing major issues for the side of Arkosh. Maybe a casual disarm would help. You can see Pale Horse just trying to build into a Satanic. That could be another way as well. Sustain yourself in these fights, get the hits off, but it doesn't matter if you always get bashed up.
Oh, Gremlo. It's the run, blink forward, Ocean. Love to get that Shackles. BKB there from Gremlo. He's going to try and turn around. His TP is on cooldown. He's been bashed up. Aeon Disc procced. He is just completely surrounded. Tree volleys flying through as well from Gunnar. He'll take the kill on the Tiny. Ball Zoomers, they're not out of this. With the Daedalus up now, it's just so much damage. He's going for a second Daedalus as well on that Tiny. And suddenly the high ground push from Arkosh looks that much harder. This Ocean, he's found out Pale Horse. He's going to have to be careful not to die, but now the TPs are coming in. But Ocean couldn't really hold down the Weaver.
No, it's a scary point. Like, all of these items coming out for Zoomers just makes it so hard for Arkosh to look for an angle. Ever since that melee racks, they haven't been able to find anything else, and they're in a really cautious part now. They don't have Aegis. Roche will respawn in 10 seconds. That could be the big one for both sides, as they're going to look for that fight inside a pit.
1 second for Roshan. Scan out from 4 Zoomers is actually going to catch the Coddle outside of the pit. So they think the Roshan might be happening. 4 Zoomers, they're smoked up, but this could be disastrous as they have the low ground disadvantage right now. Arkosh should be able to scan up this smoke pretty darn quick. They're going to loop around, trying to keep the high ground for themselves, 4 Zoomers. Pale Horse now breaks the smoke, sees Husky. Chemical Rage popped. Sammy wants to commit. Pale Horse, Avalanche tosses there. Gunnar locks him down. Abyssal lands as well. They've got the stuns, but not enough. Pale Horse will be able to get himself out. And now the team fight really gets started. A nice Shackles there from Ocean, holding down the Weaver. Canis, meanwhile, trying to take down the Wind Ranger. It's going to be enough. They got Husky. They got the Wind Ranger. They'll go for even more now. Gunnar trying to fight back against Canis. Vulpus, Avalanche, the toss and tree volley all going to be out, and Gunnar will BKB TP away. A 1 for 2, but Arkosh are going to be in a prime position to go after the Roshan.
Yeah, and they can melt this really quick. Lots of good damage coming out from Pale Horse. They did drop the Storm. That's their ideal Aegis carry now, so he has to buy back and TP. This is risky, TPing on the outpost.
They're taking the fight. Pale Horse, he's on the high ground. Hookshot is there. They've got Gunnar on the Tiny. He can't afford to die like this, but it looks like he has no choice. He will go down. No buyback available. They will at least kill off Canis Vulpus. They do get a Storm for their trouble, and now they found more. They got the clockwork, but Ocean dies to Pale Horse. Back on a Husky. It looks like the Witch Doctor is going to die. Now Sammy, a bit of a sitting duck, is trying to run, but Gremlo just slowing him down, and Pale Horse will come back in for an Ultra. Does he get the Rampage? He's definitely going for it. You have to try. And Brax, it's not going to be enough. Nothing like Daedalus up on Pale Horse to secure that Rampage. It won't matter though, he's trying to secure tier 4 towers. Glyph forced. Sammy, Brax, there to defend, but they're the only ones. Canis doing his part from the grave, John. Just all chatting, trying to distract them. Tier 4 still under siege. Gremlo pops the Edict. Pale Horse doesn't know who to focus right now. He's going to get stunned up again, but Arkosh, they have still about 50 seconds before the Witch Doctor's back up. That's one tier 4 gone. Pale Horse trying to hit Brax quite a bit, but it's not really doing too much. You may as well just keep hitting the tier 4 towers. You're going to run out of time. Diabolic Edict again. Tier 4 dropping low. Now onto Sammy. If they can get this kill, it's basically GG. The Alchemist in trouble is about to drop. Abyssal forward to the fountain. Sammy will survive. But can the Ancient survive? BKB pop. They're going to keep focusing it down. Brax is in, so is Sammy, but they're fighting without the Chemical Rage and the Ancient less than half HP now. They should have this. Pale Horse being used up, still trying. They have the Witch Doctor in just a second, but it doesn't matter. The Edict proving to be way too much in Arkosh. They pull off the game 1 victory. And 4 Zoomers, probably not going to be very happy about that. Canis Vulpus. He just can't be stopped, this man. No matter how many warnings he gets from the admins, no matter how many players try to talk back, Canis will not stop the trash talk.
No, he definitely won't, and he can't. Arkosh Gaming coming out back and forth. What a beautiful graph here, Mike. Look at that graph. Look at that graph. It's just such a darn close matchup between both sides, and Arkosh, they were winning out early. They prevented Sammy from being a major factor until he started building up. We saw the Ags fly in. BKBs were causing issues. They took some wonky fights, but in the end, the demons do rise up and wake up. Let's see if they can stay energized for that game number 2. Zoomers, they had some good moments there. Maybe a readjustment there, a bit too dependent on that Alk. And when an Alk falls flat, it falls flat hard. So they're going to have to look for a different angle. But a really close matchup between both teams. A lot closer than a lot of people would expect, I think.
No, I would agree with that. With that, it is MLP johnxfire. We're going to be back in roughly 10 minutes for game number 2. We'll see you all again very soon.